All right, lots going on out there in the world. You're watching Liquid Lunch on a terrific Tuesday on Biz TV. I'm John Tobacco. Brian Boyd's been with us before. He's a great friend of the show, and he's got a great, tremendous record of patriotism and working for our government in ways that probably most of us don't even want to really hear about. But we have Brian Boyd with us now. We thought we were going to have him yesterday, but I guess he wanted to be on Terrific Tuesday, so we got him today. He's got 30-plus years of professional intelligence analyst, counterterrorism specialist, former Green Beret, oversaw the Special Forces, SEAL Team 6, and Delta Force, and served in just a few departments: defense, justice, treasury, all the ones everyone's scared of. Brian, thanks for joining us today. Just a quick update. I know you're down in Florida. New York, we had the spike and the plateau. We've been dropping like a rock. It seems like the fire is burning down where you are. I know you're up by Naples. What can you tell us that's happening on the ground in Florida right now?
Well, as far as COVID-19, is that the question?
Yes, sir.
Well, the statistics are going up, and Governor DeSantis is on the news every single day talking about getting the schools to open in August, and now this teachers union is going to sue him out of the thousands and thousands being tested. I think about 2.5 million people in the state of Florida have gone through testing, and about 2.2 million have come back negative. So there's a couple 100,000 that have produced positive results.
Wow.
But, most of it's politics. We both know that, but the statistics are being questioned as to how valid they are. Some of the labs are saying it's 100% positive rate. Well, that's impossible. So now there's a lot of question of where the data is being collected.
Yeah, are they collecting it properly? Are they manipulating it? Are they not reporting it properly? Trump took some weird action the other day. He took the reporting of the cases on the COVID-19 out of the hands of the CDC and turned it over to the coronavirus task force. As someone who's been at all levels of government, that sounds strange to me as a layman. What does that sound like to you?
Well, actually, it makes more sense. The task force was originally established to have a variety of experts: the CDC, the Infectious Disease Institute, where Dr. Fauci is. You have the Surgeon General in there. You have a variety of expert scientists and people in the business who know the information. And like anything else, a task force is made up of a variety of experts, and that way they can look at the big picture. So I don't find any problem with that. Task forces were normal when I worked for the Justice Department. You pulled a task force together, you brought all the agents in from a variety of places in the country so you could focus as a group to solve the problem. You can't just rely on one particular agency or the other. We've already learned that hard lesson by listening to the WHO.
Right.
Bellwether.
Hey, Brian, let me ask you this on a little bit of a different subject. This whole Black Lives Matter thing, right? They've taken a sentence which everyone would agree with. Black Lives Matter? Heck yeah, you betcha. Of course, all Black Lives Matter, right? They've turned it into a hashtag that is really a front organization. That hashtag, Black Lives Matter, is a front for a group of Marxists who want to make our country a communist country. And they're hiding behind this truism that you can't win. If you say all lives matter, they get mad. If you say blue lives matter, they get mad. Isn't the real aim of this organization here to break down American society as we know it?
Yeah, that's the paradox. The guilt is being put back on the white people that the black people have been obviously racially discriminated against. And that is true through our history. We also have had issues with the Hispanic history. But the problem is the Black Lives Movement as a topic is obviously a need to solve. But the movement itself has been hijacked by the Marxists, the founders of the Black Lives Movement. I saw Rudy Giuliani's take on it the other day, and he made a comment that one of those founders was prosecuted by him when he was a prosecutor in New York. So I think a lot of my black friends and a lot of black leaders don't agree with the movement as a Marxist group. They do agree that we have to do something about racial equality. Where I have a problem with it, I think most Americans do, is when they have protesters who have a legitimate right to protest. Back during Martin Luther King, we had the same thing, but nobody was burning and looting stores. So you have a lot of people unemployed who are not at ball games, not at church, not at work, who are going to these large gatherings because there's nothing better to do, that are gathering in with the protesters. And then the professional anarchists, the Antifa movement, the anarchists, the ones who are helping to push this movement, are using that as a cover to break into stores and loot and rob. I think AOC was saying that the reason we have crime is because of poverty. Well, if that's the case, why aren't they robbing bakeries? They're not. They're robbing Starbucks and things. And the other problem is this: when you look at the people that are being hurt the most, the event down in Atlanta, okay, you have a black police chief down there. She's good. She's been doing a good job. The paradox, however, is that the Wendy's that was burned down in the riots was black owned. In St. Louis, where they had the riots and the uprising there, the only person killed was a black police chief, former police chief, and a captain. A federal agent killed out in California was a black officer. So how do they can justify the Black Lives Movement, which is a good idea, but the movement as a hashtag, as you said, has been hijacked by the Marxists. And I think too many people who want law and order don't agree with what's going on.
I feel like you would be the best to tell me about if I'm crazy, and I'm definitely crazy, but I'm watching some more of this conspiracy stuff, and I almost feel like they're starting to talk about, first it was Christopher Columbus, then it was Woodrow Wilson, and now Jefferson and Washington. They want to tear down our monuments. That's all a Marxist theory. And now they're talking about, tearing down Jesus statues. And religion is the next step of taking away people's individuality. I almost feel like we're getting to a point where it's a struggle between just good and evil in this world.
That's pretty much the issue that we're talking about. Trump and the administration are all about law and order. This issue that's going on in Portland, you have a very liberal, left-leaning mayor and the senator and the congressman out there who's saying there are federal troops in there snatching people off the streets. And that's out in the media, and it's not even close to the truth, because if you listen to the acting head of DHS, Mr. Wolf.
Right. Hey, Brian, wait. I just want to stop you on that point, because I've been watching this movie. It's called Out of the Shadows, right? And they do a really deep dive on how the CIA has an Office of Hollywood Engagement. And they talk about how it's been a practice of the CIA for over 50 years to team up with Hollywood and big entertainment companies to program viewers' minds with false information. Do you think does the CIA collaborate with Hollywood? Is there an Office of Hollywood Engagement?
I don't subscribe to that kind of conspiracy theory. There is some obvious connections, because over the years, Sylvester Stallone would come down to Fort Bragg. He'd talk to different people. Tom Clancy, who wrote a book with my former boss, General Carl Steiner, wrote the book Shadow Warriors. So they get a lot of their stories from the special ops business. A lot of the Navy SEALs, after Osama bin Laden's killing, started publishing books, and then they became movies. The obvious movie Black Hawk Down was based on the raid in Mogadishu. That was under Bill Garrison and Jerry Boykin. And Jerry Boykin's read a book called Never Surrender. So there is some interesting connections, but there's no, what I would call an attempt to bend the minds of Americans. I think more people are interested in the adventurism of it and the James Bond stuff and the thrillers of it. But to do it as a psychological warfare thing is an overstep. It's just too far. What I'm concerned with are the anarchists that plan these events. As you look into the surveillance of some of these events, and you see anarchists with baseball bats and trunks of cars and leaving bins of bricks and concrete on street corners to help organize these events. And you have team leaders in the group with headsets on, and they're actually organizing the breaking and the looting into these stores. Those are organized anarchy behavior, and that distracts the people who are actually upset with the racial issues, and it's turning the thing now into not worrying about George Floyd. They're more worried about the millions and millions of dollars of lost businesses. Wow. Look what happened in Seattle. Look what's going on in Portland. It has nothing to do with George Floyd anymore.
Nope. Sure don't. All right, Bri, I thank you so much. Your insights are always right on point, and I need somebody like you to keep me straight when I start getting too deep down the rabbit hole. But thanks so much. We got to have you back soon, brother.
All right. Love to talk to you about the 2 Trump books when you got the time.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's get him back on soon, Nico. Let's get Brian on to talk about the Bolton and the Trump, Mary Trump book. All right. That's Brian Boyd, and we're going to take a quick break right here. We're going to come back and wrap up this second